Hey, I'm Molly Sims.
And I'm Emese Gormley. We're two girls obsessed with one thing, beauty.
And by that, we mean everything that makes you look
And feel
beautiful.
We're calling on our favorite health experts, industry insiders, and friends to answer all your beauty questions.
With a drink in hand.
Definitely with a drink in hand.
You're listening to Lipstick on the Rim with Molly Sims. I mean, I'm not even kidding. When I say we get so many DMs about today's topic, I mean, it's kind of wild.
Because we're like the poster child of dating. No, just kidding. It is wild, but I totally get it. Everyone wants to know how to find their person, where to look, when it'll be happen.
And if it's already too late, it's never too late. That I can say.
Never too late.
Today, we're talking love. We're going to tell you how we met our husbands, what we've learned about timing, why there's truly no such thing as being behind when it comes, really to finding the one. We both got married a little bit later, me more than her, than most of our friends. And you know what? It's okay.
It is okay. And, our love stories are unique and great. And I think we both went through our phases of panicking at one point or another.
20s, 30s, 40s. And if you're single, dating, divorced, discouraged, well, this one's for you.
All right. You go first.
Okay. So, I mean, I think I want to start kind of the opposite way and end with the happy ending. Like, my dating wasn't perfect. You
kissed a lot of. You didn't kiss frogs.
I dated great.
You dated great guys.
I did. I dated great guys. I was not the most. I mean, I was a little bit of a gypsy. So I, unlike other people living in one city for a long time or one town, I was constantly on the go. So that did make it even harder. I mean, this is pre-apps. But I definitely, I had my patterns of dating men boys at the time.
You were a serial monogamist.
I was a serial monogamist. Yeah, I was.
So was I, until I wasn't, for a very small blip.
Mm-hmm. But I did feel, I think, through my dating, I always just thought deep down it would like work out, and then it didn't. You know what I mean? Like until it did.
I think the one thing that resonates with me, and I actually had this conversation with someone who's a lot younger than me not long ago, and it was, I wish I would have known this. The amount of times, I was single for about 2 years. I was in a few serious relationships, single for about 2 years, and then I met Mike. And in those 2 years when I dating in New York is like a beast. It is the wild, wild west. Kenna is nodding as she's chewing a banana.
It is the wild, wild west.
It was, but I feel like I was in it just short enough of a time to not lose my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And what I will say though, and this was the piece of advice I gave to someone younger, was if you are thinking there's something wrong, or if you're trying to like dissect a text message and then he's not answering back, when you're overthinking it, it's not working.
How many hours he's responded to a text or not a text, because
or he gave a non-answer answer,
or they're probably working, right? Like the things like don't jump to conclusions. So let's start in your 20s, okay?
Yes.
For me, I'm from Kentucky. Most of my friends that I grew up with, they were married by the time they got out of college. They have grown kids now. That was not my journey.
Or mine.
Or yours, but that's okay if it was. Most of my friends, my brother met the love of his life when he was, I want to say 17 and she was 15, and they've been together and have two amazing children
love each other.
And are obsessed, Todd and Alexa Sims, obsessed with each other. A couple of things that I think are really important for people to know when they're trying to find their partner. You have to have like-mindedness, like similar values that you really align on.
Mm-hmm.
Money being one of them. Mm-hmm. How you look at money, how you spend
money. Number one
how
reason people get divorced is money.
Value money.
Yeah.
Are you fucking cheap?
I could never date someone cheap.
Could never. Ever, ever. All the boys I dated, like, if you can't buy me a fucking cup of coffee or a steak.
Remember when I had to split a bill? Or I actually ended up paying for the bill?
So We were at Raoul's in Soho. Great steakhouse. Amazing. Is Raoul still there? I think it is.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's dark. It's sexy. It's great. She invites me. We will remain from the names. We go. He's fine. Bill comes.
I snatched that bill up faster than you've ever seen someone snatch a bill up because I didn't want my friends to notice that I had to pay for it because he couldn't afford it.
I
wanted to
looked
die.
out of the corner of my eye. I was like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
But I've done it. I've shared the rents. I'm like, what the again, I'm not saying go 50-50, but if you're having to go 50-50 on every single like, you're not aligned on money.
Old-fashioned here is what you're gonna get the gist of.
Yeah, we're old-fashioned.
We're old-fashioned. But here's what I will say: if you're in your 20s and you're listening to this, the key here is have fun. I think yes, there are the wonderful Todd and Alexis stories. There are those stories, but I do think that for the most part, that is rare when people stay madly in love. Your 20s, you don't really know
who you are.
You don't know what you want. You don't know what you're going to be. You don't know what you're going to do. You might end up switching careers. I personally,
living in if someone offers you to go somewhere, to live in another country, another state, another city, go.
Do it. Explore.
Do it.
Figure yourself out. Date a lot, because I will say the more you date, the more you find out what you don't know or what you don't like. And then you figure out what you like.
I'm a completely different person who I was in my 20s. I mean, I still have the same values, but even into my early 30s, like what I thought I wanted, I didn't want. And trust me, I am a fucking chameleon. I could pretend like I liked Heineken and live in a camper. I did it.
In our 30s, Molly and I went to Vancouver Island. And this is, I'm going to tell you what, I remember looking in the rearview mirror, and Kenna and Rosie, you're going to hear this because this is the Molly that was back then with who this person was.
I still wear my bandana.
I'm driving down this like freeway on this island in like snowy mountains. We went canoeing. We did like shit that we don't do anymore. And I look out my rearview mirror and Molly is going, woo, out of the top of a sunroof. Okay.
You're such a bitch.
Literally, she's like, woo. And I'm like, Molly? Is she gonna fucking fall out of the car? Like, what's happening here? And she's like, woo! And she had these big Tom Ford sunglasses on, a kerchief, so chic, by the way, bandana kerchief, like on her back front. She's like, free child. And I'm like, oh my God. And by the way, that's not, I mean, I love you. You're not sticking your head out of a sunroof. Like, that's not who you are.
It was fun. It was
Rosie and Kenna are like literally jaws to the ground.
Yeah.
But that's because in our 20s, I think, and even in our early 30s, when we're trying to figure it out, you're trying to adapt who you are to the other person.
To the other person.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. Just don't do it.
Okay, so let's talk about how we met. You tell the story about how, because I do think your 20s, you dated a lot.
20s, I dated a lot. I was madly in love with someone I got really broken up with really bad. He was on his way to film. We all know who it is. But I was really devastated. You know, he was my best friend for a long time. I actually had I was engaged to Stefan, who I love, this French guy. He actually came to my wedding. He's still one of my best friends to this day. But again, my life changed. It was like every 5 years, it just changed.
And you grew.
And I grew. And I didn't really want to be married young. That was also me. I didn't want to have kids young. I think my mom was freaking out by like 33. She was like, what the fuck?
She did. I remember
what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
We had pep talks. But I don't know. I had gotten to a place and I got out of a really shitty relationship and I was just bad and wrong and he was wrong for me and I was wrong for him. And I decided to date. And for me, that was a big deal considering I was starting at 35 years old. I was, to that point, I had been a serial monogamist.
So tell us how you met Stuber.
How did I meet Stuber? I was trying to date with her. So Emesha, was it Danielle? Was it Emesha? Was it Danielle? Who would write my texts?
I did.
Yeah, you wrote most of my texts. You're smarter and like faster than me. But yeah, you would write my texts, but I was a terrible dater. Like terrible. I didn't like to date.
I remember the first time you showed me Stuber. We were at who was that spring fling party, and I remember Stuber, this was before Molly gave him like a wardrobe makeover.
Hmm.
He's going to kill us for this. But
It's fun.
I remember someone wanted to set you up with him.
Well, I had seen him. I'd gone to this. By the way, I went because of your ass.
Yeah.
I went to a Golden Globes. It was Golden Globes viewing, whatever, Golden Globes. We saw the Globes, and then we went to, I think it was a CAA after party at Sunset Tower. You like the hairdresser.
I had a crush on a hairdresser.
Yeah.
Oof.
He was cute though.
He was cute. He had a British accent.
Yeah, he had a British accent. Yeah, he was hot. I was tired. I wanted to go home, and I'm standing by the bathroom, and I see Scott Stuber, and he was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Hey." Anyway, we chit chat. I don't really think of anything of it, but anyway, I sat and I was like, "Oh, what do you got going on?" You know, in Hollywood, you're always like, "Things are great. My movie's great. My TV show's great. Whatever." And I don't know. I didn't leave thinking anything. And I said something. I was like, "Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that." And I was like, "Oh, well," you know, he was like, "Who are you with?" Joanne Wiles. I was like, "Call Joanne," my agent at the time, who was amazing. And sure enough, like a couple of weeks later, she was like, "Oh, you have an appointment with Scott Stuber, whatever." And I was like, "Oh," and he was like, "You're going to do drinks at Chateau." I was like, "Really?" But I lived at the back, so I could always go up and whatever. But I leave there. And do I call you?
Mm-hmm.
I call you. I'm like, I just had the best. I just had the best like time. Anyway, he emailed me.
I remember seeing him at the spring fling, and I was like, "You can't go out with him. He has tube socks on."
Yeah, he had tube socks on.
He was
that was
wearing
bad.
white tube socks, and he had white Reebok sneakers. And I was like, "No."
Yeah, he's great, and he was so good because I'd never like dated like a suit, right? Like I dated like asshole hipsters or whatever. But he looked hot in a suit. He still looks hot in a suit. But yeah, I was like, I was coming out of such a shitty relationship. I'm like, I cannot get into another relationship. And so I ended up dating that whole year. I was actually I really liked this one guy, and then he broke up with me, and then the other one was fun. That was fun. That was fun.
And then that was right after. And then you started dating, and then I was actually there when they had their first kiss. And we went to Cabo. And
then we went to Cabo, and he just built the house. He, Lauren, and Pat.
And I remember everybody was like, we were there with like a bunch of girlfriends, and Molly and Scott disappear. And I'm like,
do you know, I told the kids, I'm like, I kissed your daddy behind that fireplace. I literally thought Scarlett was going to fall down. She was like, what?
That was and we were all waiting patiently. We were like, ugh, are they like making out right now for the first time? Like, should we go?
We were.
And they were making out for the first time. And that was that. That was the start of it. And then
that was it. I mean,
you dated for like what, a year and a half before you got engaged?
Yeah, about a year and a half. But I knew. But did I know?
How did you know?
Because I wasn't crazy.
Well, I beg to differ, but
thanks. I recognize you. I don't know. I don't know. He was very calming for me.
He was the first time you dated a man.
Yeah, he had a calendar. He had a schedule. He was like, "Okay, do you want to go out next Friday?" I'm like thinking, I don't know where the fuck I'm gonna be next Friday, but sure. You know, it was very odd for me. He didn't text and call, and like it wasn't like he was a man. It was he was very much just
took charge.
And that was not what I was used to.
I think that's so funny because I met Mike. You guys were...
Well, hold on. Everybody met you and Clay. Catherine and I were talking about this with Catherine and Marty. You and Clay.
I met Stuber before you did.
Yeah.
So I was dating this guy for a couple of years who was younger than I was. And I was in LA and I worked at this place called Starworks that doesn't exist anymore. And our friend Kat Bowen, at the time she was Catherine Fieldcamp, was dating this guy, Marty Bowen. And
he was a producer in Hollywood.
He was a producer and still is.
His best friend is Scott Stuber.
I remember going to Kat's house with Marty for the Oscars. We were going to watch the Oscars and they were having people over. And the boys were having like a poker game. And I remember Scott walking in and I was like, oh, this is so nice. And he was with whatever girl he was dating. And all the boys went and sat. And I remember, I vividly remember hanging out with Kat and this group of girls from LA that I didn't really know other than Kat. But yes, I met Stuber before technically you did.
And I had known Stuber because his producing partner, who's an incredible producer, her name is Mary Parent. Love you, Mary. I always thought he was with Mary because they lived together.
Yeah.
I didn't really kind of get it. And anyway, they ended up running Universal together. But yeah, we were so not, I knew of him, but I didn't know him. And then we dated and we had our moments, but I think the good thing about having all of the ups and downs, I was very set on who I was. To your point, I wasn't hanging my head out of a fucking cheap Cherokee. I was very set on.
You also knew what you wanted. You knew
that's
who
what
you
I'm
were,
saying.
and you knew what you wanted.
Yeah, and it was a little bit of a tricky time in my life because at 35, I did wake up, as we know, and wanted a family, and I was thinking about freezing my eggs, and I had a date, and I remember Lauren Kusterak, don't do it. Do not tell him. He's definitely not going to marry you. And, again, I told him, I'm going to do it. I'm going to freeze my eggs. But,
I think that's the thing. It's so I met Mike. I'm 46. I met Mike. We've been together now for 13 years. Yeah, 13 years. Married for, no.
I've been
what
13.
Year is today? We're 2025. We met, and so 14 years. We've been together for 14 years.
What is it? No. Oh, but your anniversary.
We're wedding anniversary. So we started dating 14 years ago.
Has it been that long?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, the Almond.
And we met at Almond. I was not in the mood to go out. And this is another little just tidbit. I was not dressed for the nines. I was wearing a pair of tie-dyed, crappy shorts, a white t-shirt, a baseball hat. I did not a lick of makeup on. My hair at the time was down to here, and I just wore a Yankees baseball hat. And Lauren Kusterak and Mimi Brown and I had these shitty rental in the Hamptons.
The shittiest.
And literally, when I tell you, was not in the mood to go out. I was like, I don't want to go out. Lauren's like, we are going out. We're going to Bobby Vans. And I was like, fine, we'll go to Bobby Vans with all the geriatrics. So we go to Bobby Vans. We have a shrimp cocktail. I'm like, this sucks. Let's move on. Worst mood ever. So then we move over to Almond, which, by the way, it was Saturday night, not Friday night, because apparently Friday night is gay night.
Yeah, it was gay night.
Everyone was like, did you meet him on Friday? Is he gay? And I was like, he's not gay. We met on Saturday. Anyhow, I start talking to this guy at the bar, and Lauren Kusterak, God bless her, was having a wine tasting to herself because she does not just order a glass of wine. She's like, can I try 17 glasses of Chardonnay? And she will not commit to a bottle. She'll just buy a glass. So these poor people behind the bar are pouring her 19 glasses of Chardonnay to taste test.
And she'll switch to red.
She's like, actually, she says with a big smile on her face. And she's like, actually, can I just have the cab? And please note, coming off of meeting Mike, I had dated this cheap guy that I had to pay for everything. So I start talking to this guy at the bar, and he's with his friends, and he's a single guy. And ultimately, what ends up happening is he ends up joining Lauren, Mimi, and I for dinner. Lauren loves him right away. She's like, he ordered a great bottle of red. I'm like, great. He ends up buying all of us dinner. And I'm like, oh, who is this guy? What's happening here?
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. And I end up saying, fine, I'll drive him home. And because I was not really drinking that night and I was driving. So long story short, we end up, going out on a real date 2 days later. And that was it. And I will say one of the funniest things to me to this day, and I gave this piece of advice to, I won't name her, but my babysitter. And she's been dating a guy for a couple of months. And she was like, it's time to kind of have a little bit of a talk. And I said,
oh my God.
Well,
don't have to talk.
Well, okay, so here's the deal. But you have to be clear on what
she's
36. I was at the time 33. And I looked at Mike, and it was right after Molly's wedding. And I go, just so you know, if you ever decide you're not really that into me, you just want to keep dating me, you don't see a future with me, just pull the plug. I'll be fine. But I want to get married. I want to have kids. And what I will say, and this is what I said to my babysitter, if you have that conversation and it scares him away, he wasn't your person.
No.
Because they might get annoyed and be like, ugh, that's kind of annoying.
You just have to pick your moments. You have to pick your time, because when you say, "Hey, can we talk?"
Yeah, that way they all freak out.
Even Scott was like, "What do you want to talk about?"
But I will say, if they're the right person, all it does is make them self-reflect. It doesn't scare them away. They might get annoyed, because Mike will tell you to this very day that when I said that to him, he was annoyed. He was like, really? Like, that's what you're going to say to me? But I'm like, yeah, but guess what? You didn't dump me, and we're married and have 3 kids. So if it's the right person, nothing you say in that realm will scare them away.
At the end of the day, what you want might be different than what they want.
Totally.
And, you see your friends and you see your girls who will just accept the worst of the worst. Oh, I don't want kids. Really? You talked about having 5 kids, right? You'll say things because that's what they want.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very slippery slope. The guy who's dating you, who will not commit, who will not year after year, like, again, I'm not saying it won't work out, but at one point, at a certain age, you do have to have the talk and you do have to walk.
Yeah, I think there's certain red flags. If you're dating a guy who's, in their 40s and they've never been in a serious relationship, they have Peter Pan syndrome. Time to run.
Not always. Because people always say, like, he's such a player. I'm like, of course he's a player. He's fucking 6'4" and hot. Why wouldn't he be a player?
Yeah, but he had shown that he could commit. I'm talking about guys that don't know how to commit. They're like, they've never been in a long-term relationship. They've never been engaged, or I'd rather have a guy that's divorced with 3 kids that can show me that they're able to commit than someone that's 45 and never actually had a relationship longer than 6 months. I do think that dating has shifted so much. Yeah. And I will say, I really hope we're seeing the pendulum swing back in so many ways with social media, and there's like a backlash against phones for younger kids. I do think
a lot of people are getting off the apps.
I think dating has to go back to that face-to-face human connection of you meet someone at a bar. Like, that was my most fond memories of dating, were like going to a bar and like seeing someone that cat and mouse game, right? Where you like catch someone's eye and then there's like a moment, and then, oh wait, like, are they gonna like come and talk to me, or should I talk to them? And is he gonna ask me out? That, I think, is lost on a whole generation of people, because it's all now down to the phone and a swipe to the left or a swipe to the right.
There's not a timeline.
There's no timeline.
I think a lot of girls, that's what made me think about the 36 comment. Like, sometimes people don't want to get married until they're 46, right? It has nothing to do with the girl or the boy. Like, a lot of dating is timing. Are you at the right time, at the right place? And are they at the right time, at the right place? And do your values align? Like, a lot of times, I don't know. Had I met a couple of the guys that I dated, and I dated some great guys. So maybe later on in life, it might have worked, but I didn't live in the same country. We had different things going on. So I don't just think and I think another thing is, like, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. That is just something that you tell yourself. If it's meant to be, it will be.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right. But I think for me, the mistakes that I made, I always would be like, no, but he's great. No, but he's awesome. No, he doesn't really, drink too much. And you know what I mean? Like, I would always try to see the better side. Or
you're not changing anyone.
I thought I could.
I think that's like the biggest thing, is that you have to go into whomever you're marrying, whatever you commit to. You cannot go into it saying, I love this person the way they are, but I'm going to change this aspect of them. It's not going to happen. It's not. And if you're trying to change them and you can't live with what you're trying to change, then don't get married.
Or you see the girls who are like, well, he does this and this and this and this and this. And you're like, well, then he's probably not right for you. Like, the girls who always complain, and you're like, because it's not right. Yeah. Right? Like, I did that. I wouldn't complain so much. I would just try to make it right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? By changing me or changing my behavior or changing my habits or but I do think aligning on a lot of values early on, it does make a difference.
Yeah, I think that it helps with when you raise your children together, that you don't want to be at odds with the values that you think are important compared to what the other person thinks are important as you raise these kids.
And guess what? Divorce. It's okay.
It's okay.
You know what? You can also meet the love of your life, spend 15, 20 years together,
Have beautiful babies.
have incredible babies together, and it's a win. And it doesn't mean it's supposed to be forever. Like, I don't know that I think that you can only have one true love in your life. Like, I've had so many incredible loves in my life. I think, I
think
don't.
there's a difference in getting married when you're older, in the sense that you are more assured and confident in who you are, what you want, and what you don't want. So by the time you do get married, like we did, I was almost 35 when I got married. You were 39. Like, we knew, we were pretty confident in who we were and what we wanted and what we didn't want. And I think that makes it a lot easier because we had gone through several different relationships that we learned more about ourselves from than anything else.
And I think the guys that, also know themselves, right? Like the guys who don't get married, they probably don't get married for a reason because they know they can't get married, right? Or they get out of something because they don't really want to stay in something, not because they don't want to, but because they can't. Right? A lot of emotional baggage you bring into any relationship, and that baggage will get unwrapped. I mean, it will rear its great head and ugly head, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those things that we're like, I'm reading through some of our notes we have here. There is no timeline for it. But the one thing that you do have to do, it doesn't matter if you're 25, 35, or 55. You've always said this. If you're single, you have to treat dating like a job. You have to put yourself out there. You have to work at it. You have to make an effort. You have to show up. Show up at the bar. Find yourself friends that are single to go out with. Like, I cannot handle listening to someone tell me that they are single and miserable, but they don't put the work in. No one is going to land in your lap. Mm-hmm. I met Mike because I put myself out there. I dated. You met Scott because you put yourself out there. It's like anything in life. You want something, you have to work for it. And it's not saying that once you're in that relationship, you have to keep working at it. But I think that you can't give up on yourself, and you can't go, oh, I'm too old, or I'm too this, or.
And listen,
all my friends are married.
What means something to one person, you might not care about.
Totally.
If he doesn't text me when he gets home, if he doesn't call me when he gets home, that might not bother you, but it bothers me. Like, don't accept things early on that later on, because that's the mixed messages. Well, it didn't bother you for 3 years, right? And you haven't, you know what I mean? Like,
it makes a difference. And sometimes it's not about finding the right person, but it's about becoming the version of who you are and who's ready for them then, right? I think that's something that is really, really, really important, because we have this vision in our head of like, this is the right person for me. And I will wholeheartedly say I never thought about, I need him to do this or be this or look like this. Like, I don't think I ever had that. I never had an expectation of what my husband would look like or be like. I just knew I wanted someone that reflected probably, honestly, a lot of the values that I got from my dad. And I feel like ultimately, like, I look at Mike, and so much of what I see in Mike and respect in Mike is what I have always looked up to in my dad.
Also, the past heartbreaks, lessons, everything had a purpose, right? Everything you go through, but you're not behind, you're not broken, you're not out of time. One of our best friends met the love of her life at 52 years old. They've been together now for 12 years, and she could not be happier.
Yeah, totally. Do you believe in the right person, wrong time theory? And it's so funny because I actually thought about this recently. I don't believe that the right person, it's not like, oh, that person never came. I think you can meet the right person for you at that time, but they might not be the person for you because it's the wrong time. Does that make sense? Like, I think, you know, I remember dating Clay, for example. I
Love Clay.
loved Clay. Like, and he's a good egg and his family's great and he's married and has beautiful babies now. But in that point in time, we were in very different places and he was the right person
Also,
for me.
he was younger.
He was younger
We
than me by
both
5
dated
years.
younger. That did not work for me. I felt like I was like mothering.
Yeah, I felt like I was a mom. And at the end of the day, I think it's really important to just think about it. I don't really think there's ever like, oh, I met this person and it was just the wrong time. And maybe if we meet up later in life, it'll be different. I think that person was what you needed at that point in time. And the timing just meant he wasn't the person or she wasn't the person for you long term. And I think that shift in thinking is really important because there are different people for different phases of our life.
Oh my God, yes. And I think that's where if you're not in a hurry and you can just, you know, slow down, have a good time, try not to get so crazy, you'll realize like it will one day you'll wake up and you're like, this isn't that hard, right?
And be open. Just be open because you never know. Like, I think that
and if they do something wrong, it's not the end of the world. Do you know how many times Mike and Scott fuck up on a daily basis?
I mean, it's we pick our battles now.
You pick your battles. That's another thing, girls. Not everything can be a nag. Not everything can be. God, we sound old.
I mean,
but I'm just saying, they'll be like, I'm over you.
I do think I will say this. I think that the older you are, the more you get settled in your ways and the harder it is to then let someone into your life. So I think that if you are dating in your 40s or you've been single for a long time, be patient with the other person because I have seen this happen where little things start to frustrate and it becomes a bigger thing in the relationship than it needs to be because you're so set in your way.
Super's never picking up his clothes. It's just, I don't understand. The basket is 7 inches from his pants.
Yeah.
And his not tube socks, because I won't let him wear them anymore, but colored socks. And it just can't go into the hamper. Like they're like, what? They're next to it.
His cashmere Argyle socks.
The cashmere Argyle socks can't go into the hamper.
Well, we
you know what, he does something like really cute now and be like, okay, just tell me what to wear.
Yeah.
Yeah, he pulled out a checker blue and white and I was like, no. And he was like, it's Tom Ford. I'm like, listen, Tom Ford didn't know he made that.
And let people know, by the way.
It was terrible.
You really gave, I remember Molly slowly, ever so slowly redoing his wardrobe. She would go to Barney's and she'd be like, I just took all that out and I put this in. And it was like a slow, like I think it was like Cinderella, like makeover. Like truly, like he didn't realize it.
I was like, oh, I got it. Because he's not good. He's been great. He's not good with athleisure. He just like loves an Arizona shirt.
I mean, have you seen Mike's Buffalo Bills gear?
Yes.
He has a lot of t-shirts.
I'm like, or it'll be like El Dorado, Arizona. And I'm like.
We have a lot of Villanova gear in our house.
We have a lot of Arizona.
Well, we have not talked about our dating in a long time, and I kind of think it was very fun.
I know. It was so fun.
Reliving our glory days.
I love you.
Wild child.
Our dating. But listen, don't think that both of us did not have tears and heartbreak.
We did. But that's part of what makes it fun. That's part of what makes it worthwhile. Because then when you meet the right person, you're like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be like.
I remember my mom had to come and live with me for like a couple of months because I was catatonic. I was catatonic. Gary Scott Thompson, thank you for not firing me. He was my showrunner and creator of Las Vegas. Thank you for not firing me because I could barely go to set. But there were heartbreak, but the heartbreak also made everything else when you finally meet that person. Like, you can't even remember it.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And by the way, they always all come groveling back.
Oh, let me tell you.
FYI.
Yeah, just so they always come back.
They know. They know the good ones.
Oh, they know.
Well, you're my work wife.
You're my work wife. You're my
soulmates from 2002.
2002. Someone posted a picture of like 2000s, and I'm like, God, I crushed the 2000s.
We still look the same.
I mean,
in our heads.
Dr. Levine, I'm getting my neck done. No. All right. Well, love you. I hope this
Love you.
helps. You guys can DM us, ask us questions.
Ask us questions. We're always here for
We
it.
do mentor a little bit of our girls.
Our young girls.
Don't text back. Wait.
Play it cool.
Play it cool.
Make them pay.
And then they'll say, why do I have to play it cool? Why can't I just be me? Because you can't. You got to play the fucking game.
Yeah, because someone else will.
Someone else will. All right. We love you
you.
guys.
Love
girl.
you.
Love you.
Thanks for listening to Lipstick on the Rim with Molly Sims and my ride or die, Emisha Gormley. We are so excited to bring you guys along on this journey with us. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Lipstick on the Rim and at Molly B. Sims. Or you can go to my blog where you can dive just a little bit deeper into my favorite products, trends, and more at mollysims.substack.com. And don't forget to check out our video episodes on my YouTube channel, Molly Sims. This podcast is a production with Sony Music. I wanted to give a special thanks to my team, Rosie Cummings, Kenna Ryan, Safin Kevorkian, and everyone at Sony Music. Don't forget to listen and follow wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss out on the fun.